Holy cow. Are we back?
Yeah, we yelling at the screen every Sunday night. Talk slick through the remote, we just want it right. Front office tripping, man, they can't get it right. Whole city heated, but we still gon' fight. We talking Bulls trade, biz drafts, missed calls, pull slump, soft rebuild. We seen it all. Yeah, we loud, yeah, we gritty. I'm a little frustrated, but I still love my city. Yeah, north side, south side, west, we united.
Welcome back to Holy Cow, the Chicago Cubs podcast here at the Frustrated Chicago Sports Fan channel. And listen, the long national nightmare of the Cubs losing streak is finally over. Shout out to Gerald Ford. I don't know how it's possible to have not one, but two 10-game winning streaks. It like immediately turned right around and put up a 10-game losing streak. I think it's been said that is the first time it's ever happened in the 100, damn near 50 years of Major League Baseball. And I would probably say that's probably correct. It makes no sense how that happened. But yep, the Cubs are one of those teams that are going to surprise you, one of those teams that are bound for the history books, even if sometimes it's not the good type of history. Right before this losing streak, the Cubs were ranked number one in the power rankings. They had a 20-3 stretch. And now, at one point of this losing streak, they woke up tied for last place in the NL Central. The vaunted NL Central. But take a deep breath. Streak is dead. Streak is dead. The Cubs were able to salvage this series against the Pittsburgh Pirates, even against the reigning Cy Young winner, Paul Skenes. Even with him sitting there waiting at the back end of this series, the Cubs did something that they haven't done in a long time, and that's play very smart offensive ball. And let's go ahead and recap that. And then after that, talk about some help that the Cubs are rumored to be involved in. So let's get right into that. Let's rewind all the way to Memorial Day. Game one of this series. The Cubs entered this latest road trip riding an 8-game losing streak after being swept in their homestand. Disgusting. How you lose 6 straight games at home? That's garbage. But it felt like a prime opportunity to get off the schneid and figure some things out against a Pittsburgh team that is improved from where they have been as of late in the last 8 years per se, but it's still, they're a young team. They're not ready for the show just yet. So it felt like an opportunity for the Cubs to finally get some things right and, turn this season back around and go back towards those contending expectations that you entered the season with. Ben Brown was on the mound, and man, he was actually good. When you watched him pitch, you felt like, okay, yeah, this is going to be where we figure this thing out. 6 innings, gave up just 1 earned run, struck out 7 batters. The knuckle curve and the sinker were on point. He was putting up a 50% whiff rate in this game with that curveball. Michael Busch, he provided a spark with a solo home run in the 5th inning, tied the game at 1-1. But again, after that, it all fell apart. Bottom of the 7th, Trent Thornton came out of the bullpen and gave up a 2-out go-ahead home run to Henry Davis. Henry Davis was hitting 139 coming into this game. 139, and he hit that ball. If you just go watch that replay, he hit that ball like he knew he got all of it, and he got all of it. It went up at least 10 to 12 rows. He hit that ball like he had a lot of confidence. Like he just knew this was a can of corn. And he put it in the stands. He did exactly what he's supposed to do with that. 139 coming into this game. And were the Cubs going to respond to that? No. Silent. Failing to cash in on their chances. They went 0 for 2 with runners in scoring position, and the Cubs lost 2-1. 9 straight losses. Game 2. A chance not to get to that double digits. You don't want to get there. You don't want to match one of your 10-game winning streaks with an opposite 10-game losing streak, because that's just back to 500, back to 0, right? Don't want to do that. You still want to have a net positive. Game 2. I'm gonna be real with you. I did not have the stomach to watch this game. I looked at the score in my notifications. Saw that the Cubs were down 5-0 in the 1st inning. I said, I don't have time for this. I'm gonna check into the Express game later on. I do not have time for this. It was the rare Tuesday that felt like a Monday, and I didn't have the energy. Cubs fell behind. Like I said, Cubs fell behind immediately in this game. Jordan Wicks made his first major league start since 2024, and it's going to be a while before he makes his second start. Let's just say that. He walked the leadoff hitter on 4 pitches and got hit for that five spot in the first inning. He ended up giving up 8 runs on 9 hits in just 4 1/3 innings. But what really drove everyone crazy in this game, the fundamental mistakes that everybody was making. Down 5-0 in the first, Pete Crow Armstrong, he airmailed the cutoff man and the third baseman on a throw from center field, allowing a runner to advance from second, which directly led to more runs being scored. I get it. Everyone's pressing. Everyone's trying to be the superhero, trying to end the losing streak all on their own. And Pete Crow Armstrong, he's got that makeup. He's got that. You can just look at him and say, like, yeah, he's the type of guy that would try to, like, solve everything for himself. I don't know the guy, never met him, but he just looks like it. But we can't do that. We got to play fundamental baseball. The way you end a losing streak isn't by someone waking up and becoming Henry Aaron out of nowhere. The way you end things is by everybody doing their damn job. Everyone playing sound fundamentals, everyone getting back to the basics, and then before you know it, good things are going to happen. Down 5-1, Ian Happ tried to tag up from second to third on a fly ball and got gunned down. More inexcusable, more sloppy baseball. Why were the Cubs losing so much? The reasons are plentiful. First, the offense was historically bad with runners in scoring position. During this losing streak, the team was hitting between 124 and 130 in those clutch situations. Over the 16 games heading into Wednesday's game, the Cubs were averaging a terrible 2.5 runs per game. Like I said, guys were pressing in the field. Guys were also pressing at the plate. They're chasing out of the zone. Everyone's trying to be a hero. Everyone's not just taking their walks that are giving to them. Everyone's trying to hit a 5-run home run with there's nobody on base. In case you didn't know, you can't do that. It's impossible, mathematically at least. Second, the pitching rotation has been a disaster. We already know about the injuries. Justin Steele, Cade Horton, Matthew Boyd, Eric Cabrera, all of them. Each one of those guys, 4 guys that broke camp as starters, they're all on the IL right now. Edward Cabrera was the latest with that blister that he got in the last series. You cannot lose 4 projected starters and still expect to coast. The Cubs have been doing well considering all the injuries up into this last stretch. Maybe this is just water meeting its level. Maybe that's just it. At some point, the injury is going to catch up with the Cubs, at least from a pitching perspective, and that's exactly what this is. And Jameson Taillon, to round it all up, we know who Jameson Taillon is. He's good one day, bad the other one, mid most of the other ones. He is what he is, but he's struggling right now himself. He can't keep the ball in the yard. Again, he gave him another one. We'll get to that in a second. Leading the major leagues in home runs given up, 19 already. And then Wednesday, baseball gods said, you've suffered enough. They smiled on us and they gave us something to be happy for. Breakthrough. The Cubs routed the Bucks 10-4 to finally snap that 10-game losing streak. What turned it around? Clutch hitting. The Cubs cranked out 14 of them bad boys and went 5 for 16 with runners in score position. Ian Happ, he broke the game wide open in the 7th inning with a big-time 3-run home run. He had a 5 RBI night. Michael Conforto to not be outdone. He added a 2-run pitch hit home run himself right after that. The bullpen stepped up too. Jacob Webb came into the game when it was tied 4-4 because after the offense would, give Jameson Taillon a lead, and he'll give it right back up. We'll talk about that in a second. The game was tied 4-4 in the 6th. He struck out the side, setting the tone for the offense to continue to explode. They kept the good vibes rolling in the game 4 on Thursday. The Cubs beat the Pirates 7-2, got back-to-back wins, and it was especially sweet because of who they beat. Paul Skenes, Pirates ace, possibly the best. Let me not even say possibly the best pitcher in the NL. Let me not even lie like that because that guy in LA, alien. He should not be allowed to play in the majors. He is a cheat code. You know what I'm talking about? Shohei Ohtani. It's like he's You all remember Danny Almonte? Remember that from the little league back? I don't remember maybe back in the '90s. He was dominating the little leagues, but then it came to light that he was too old to be in the little leagues. Yeah, that's what Otani is. He's too good. He should not be playing at this level. He needs to he needs to be removed from Major League Baseball and put into a league where his talent is just like everybody else's because he is unfair. The Dodgers have an unfair advantage, and I don't like it. Back to this game. Paul Skenes struck out 10 batters, but the Cubs made him work for it. This is what I talked about earlier. You got to play fundamental baseball. They made him work. They got him out of the game in the sixth inning. They made him work for everything. They were keeping their exit velocity soft, and they were finding holes and capitalizing on the Pittsburgh sloppy defense. We know Pittsburgh. They're prone to give you some mistakes here and there. The Pirates committed 6 errors in this series, and the Cubs capitalized. On the offensive side, who showed up in this game? Who did their big one? You may have heard this name before. Ian Happ. He homered for the second of the night and had 3 hits in this game. And more importantly, he's now reached base safely in 41 consecutive games in Pittsburgh. If you don't know that about Ian Happ, he is a Pittsburgh kid. Seiya Suzuki, he also had 2 hits and 2 RBIs for the Cubs. Minor note on Paul Skenes, he has now lost 3 straight starts. Now, how can the Cubs keep this going? They're going to need some help. Even though they won two in a row, it is not going to be easy to keep this afloat. Got 4 starting pitchers on the IL right now. Matthew Boyd should be on the way back sometime soon, but that is not going to hold the Cubs over. Cade Horton's done for the year. Still, you won't see him till at best after All-Star break. Maybe, hopefully, get him back by the end of July. That's best case scenario. Edward Cabrera, he's got a blister, so his IL stint shouldn't be too long. But we're going to need Jed and Carter to get off of 2032 and get on to 2026 because we need massive help now. And the biggest name floating around, there's a lot of rumors floating around, this guy, Tarek Skubal. Hearing this from MLB insider John Heyman that the Cubs are the top of the list for suitors to get him. Everyone knows who Skubal is. He's won the last 2 AL Cy Youngs. He's out right now out for getting a scuba scope, what they're calling it. He had loose bodies in his elbow, and that's important because his agent, Scott Boras, if the Cubs should be into this situation, they're the pros. Skubal, back-to-back Cy Young winner, probably the most complete pitcher. He's the best pitcher in the AL, bar none. You add him to your rotation gets better immediately, and not just in small segments. He is W every 5 days, that type of pitcher. Plus, there's a huge front office link here. The Tigers president of baseball operations, Scott Harris, used to work in the Cubs organization under Jed Hoyer. You like that from a business perspective. Now, the cons. Skubal is not going to be cheap. He's going to drain whatever assets the Cubs have. And again, I did say that he is on the last year of his deal with Detroit. So we just went through this with Kyle Tucker. You're trading a massive asset for a 1-year rental. I want to pump the brakes on it. You don't want to do that 2 years in a row. That's not good. That's not a winning way to run a ball club. Skubal has a record-setting $32 million arbitration case this year. Taking on that salary plus luxury tax implications is a tough pill to swallow mid-season. Giving up assets, going over the luxury tax. You are ringing the Ricketts' ears with that one right there. Second, pure rental. We already did this with Cal Tucker. We already know, we know how this goes. He's going to be a free agent this year, and Scott Boras is his agent. They are going to test the market. There's no re-signing him right after the trade is finalized. They are going to test that market. You remember Cody Bellinger, Scott Boras' client. They are going to test the market. If the Cubs are going to get him, they have to give up massive prospect capital, and they're just for a player who's going to still test the market once winter meetings roll around. And when we're talking about prospects, the Tigers, they have expectations on 2026 themselves. They came into this season expecting to win their division again. Right now, they're in last place. They've had a lot of injuries. They've had a lot of falling on their face so far this season. So I'm assuming they're going to want major league ready players in addition to prospects for Tarek Skubal. Matt Shaw, You already know he's the first guy on the line, and probably Moises Ballesteros. That's a oof, I don't want that. No, I want Moises to be on this club for the long haul. That is going to be a lot, but you're going to have to pay a lot to get a top line pitcher. Pitchers are not cheap, so the Cubs have to decide: is 2026 really their year? Do they really want to push all those chips in? I believe I believe coming into the season when we were healthy, this was our year. Now we've got all these injuries piling up. It's hard to have those same expectations for this team because if you're just being real, how do you replace Justin Steele? How do you replace Cade Horton? How do you do that? You can't do it all in one fell swoop without hemorrhaging talent for years to come. Who wants to do all that? Tough decisions they got to make over there at 1060 West Addison. But if they decide the Cubs are got to go for it, that's the ultimate go for it piece. Best and worst of this series. Let's hand out some hardware. The best players, though. Ian Happ, come on down, sir. Got on your case for striking out. He got benched for a few games during this losing streak, but he showed up these last two games. He was the offense. He was the birthday for these two games of how they split this series. Pittsburgh native, undeniable, undeniable series. He had, like I said, he had a sluggish stretch. The fans were really on his case. And he was striking out a lot. You got to cut that out. But he went 2 for 6 with a 3-run home run and 5 RBIs in game 3 of this series. Followed that up in game 4 with going 3 for 5 with a 2-run first pitch, fastball home run, and an RBI infield single. Dog, dog. Single-handedly carried the offense when they needed to break this slump. Colin Ray, the starter from game 4, never easy going head to head against Paul Skenes, but he actually outpitched him. Colin Ray's been real solid this season. Not too up, not too down, just been solid, steady for a guy who didn't even break camp, didn't even break spring training as a starting pitcher. He was just a long reliever, and he's been exactly what the Cubs have needed to navigate through all these injuries. 5 and 1/3 innings pitch. He gave up just 4 hits and 2 earned runs. He struck out 5. Again, been a rock this whole season so far. More than just a depth arm. Ben Brown, even though he got the no decision in game 1, he was really good. I told you earlier, 6 innings, 1 earned run, 7 strikeouts. He has a sub-2 ERA. And he looks like a legitimate front of the rotation starter right now. Right now, he does. We've seen it before out of him. We've seen it out of a lot of pitchers showed. You can be hot, right? You're gonna have your times of the season where you're hot. You need to see consistency. But right now, shout out to Ben Brown for doing his thing during this series. Michael Busch, he provided consistent offense all throughout this 10-game losing streak. He had a solo home run in game 1. He had a hit and an RBI in game 3. He scored runs in game 4. He's been one of the few bright spots since he got out of that funk that he started the season with. He's been getting big hits and just being consistent. Worse, Jordan Wicks. Come on now. You cannot sugarcoat his games to start. 4 walks, 9 hits, 8 earned runs, 4 1/3 innings. Gave up 5 runs in the first inning. Complete garbage. More garbage than that site that they want to put the Bears in Hammond, Indiana. Garbage. Team was already on a 9-game losing streak, and then he came out there and did nothing but say, here's 10. Dansby Swanson, his struggles are real. He's hitting in the 188 range. He went 0 for 3 in game 1. And he's consistently striking out and or hitting weak ground balls when men are on base. Can't have that. For the money he's making, $81 million over the next 3 years, he's doing nothing at the plate, and he's dragging the offense down. Good thing he's got an amazing glove. Pico Armstrong. Defensively, you all know what you get. PCA, he's a gold glove winner already in his young career. That error he had when he overthrew the cutoff man, you got to get that out of his game. Hope now we're winning. Hopefully he's no more superhero shit. Don't need to do that. Offensively, the last 2 series put together, the Pittsburgh Pirates series and the Houston Astros series, he's got 5 hits, 4 RBIs, 5 strikeouts. He's hitting 211 in that span. We need PCA to be a leader. Not to be somebody that's trying to win it all by himself. Lead the guys. Be with the guys. Where do the Cubs go from here? I don't know why the Cubs had a primetime game on getaway day, but can't cry over spilled milk. you got to go right to Bush. You got a big series right now with those stupid STL Kardashians, the St. Louis Cardinals. Big series, rivalry series against the St. Louis boys. Cardinals are a big test. The Cardinals haven't had a losing record all year, and the NL Central is a dogfight. If the Cubs want to prove this turnaround is real, they need to take this series 2-1. And to bring home the point that this is a big series, 2 of these games are going to be on national TV. Saturday's game is on Fox. Sunday's finale be on NBC and Peacock. After we ball up the Cardinals, the schedule softens up really nice. I've said it in the last couple of episodes. Head back to Wrigley to start off a new home field winning streak. Got the Oakland Athletics. Are they still Oakland? Sacramento Athletics. Followed by a stretch of home and a road series against San Francisco. The Giants, one of the worst teams in Major League Baseball, the Colorado Rockies. Shout out to the homie Chris Bryant. Neither the Giants or the Rockies are setting the world on fire right now. They are both trash, both really trash. This upcoming 15-game stretch is the perfect runway for the Cubs to start padding their win column. Edward Cabrera should be back at some point during this stretch, and so Matthew Boyd should be returning soon. Like I said earlier, he's already back pitching in the minors right now. So we should be getting some help to that starting rotation. Start climbing our way back to the top of the division, because you know it's going to happen. You can't keep a good team down for too long. As I said earlier in this episode, water always finds its level, and that's exactly what the Cubs are going to do. The cream rises to the top. Fly the W. Appreciate you tapping into this latest episode from the Frustrated Chicago Sports Fan channel. Don't matter if you was watching on YouTube or listening on Spotify or Apple. Make sure you like, subscribe, share with everybody on the block, and hit the notification bell so you never miss none of our daily drops. And to all the guys from the Shy, we say 3 things. Bear down, fly the W, and sell the team, Jerry.